What is up, everybody? Lyle, No Hippie Trucking and Transportation, coming at you from, shoot, I don't even know where I'm coming at you from. A TA in Tennessee. I-81. I think it's exit 36, but I got a message from somebody, and I'll get back into this for people that just come in, but I got a message from somebody that literally woke me up and made me start thinking about things. So I just wanted to kind of talk about that. What's up, Myth Leather Company? Boo Boo the Poochie, what's up? Tim Travels, what's up? What's up, P-Smoke 420? Just wanted to talk about a message that I got here. Email. And it literally, I was about to go to sleep, but I could not go to sleep until I got this off my chest. So I'm going to wait for a few more people to get in, then we'll kind of get into this. I got the air conditioner on now. I will turn it off here once some people come in. I don't know if you can. Romaine the Trucker, what's up? I did send the email. I did send that email. If you're talking about the bourbon, I sure did. I was not going to miss that email. So take a look in your spam folder or something like that. But if you want to, send me that message again to nohippie, NOHIPPIEBBQ @gmail.com. All right, Sean from PA, horse hauling. Now listen, for those of you guys that just think if you get into trucking and all that you have to choose from is mega carriers, training companies, whatever, he got into trucking. First of all, I didn't ever think he was going to get into trucking, but he did, and he's hauling horses right off the bat. So Carolina is a driver in Europe. Boy, I'm afraid to even think about them tight ass roads out there. All right, so I wanted to just talk about something that it really kind of, I mean, I don't want to be all sensitive and shit, but it really did touch my heart and really make me worry about this person. So I gave him a call, and hopefully some of my life experience will help him with what he's kind of going through. Did I ever see any, I don't know what that is, Sugonis? I don't know what that is. Misfit Flatbedder. I'm going to talk about you here in a minute as well. Alright, so listen. Carolina, what's up? Lenny, what's up? So I want to talk about this real quick. Russia, dang, what's going on? So I got a message, and I did get permission to talk about this as long as I don't divulge who this person is. Not necessarily with Prime, but is in the trucking industry. And going through a rough time right now, and the reason I actually called him back was that he said, listen, Lyle, I'm not thinking about killing myself, but I can't tell you that I haven't thought about it. So I immediately got up, made a phone call, had a chance to talk to him for a while, and kind of let him know what I've been going through lately, but why what I've gone through previous in life has prepared me to go through this right now. So everybody's going to go through all these different things in life that's going to kind of challenge you. And really what's going to determine how you come out of the back end of that is how you deal with it. And like I said, he didn't. What's up, D's Nuts? But like I said, he he said that he wasn't thinking about committing suicide, but he can't say that he hasn't thought about it. Now, I've mentioned this before in videos, way back when. I haven't really spoke on it too much. What's up, Shal? But the reason that I am able to make it through some of the stuff that I've been dealing with this last year and a half is because of the challenges that I've had I've had to deal with previous to this. So I'd mentioned, like, back in the days before I got, like, serious about finance, you know, I always had the basics about it. You know, it wasn't like I wasn't saving money and things like that, but I wasn't afraid to get some credit. You know what I mean? And some of that credit would be good credit, be not cars, be houses, shit like that. And some of the shit was bad, cars, credit cards, whatever. And there was a time, you know, I was in the mortgage industry previous to this, to where I wasn't set up financially to deal with any downturns that lasted any longer than, let's say, maybe 6 months. You know what I'm saying? And I ended up having to file for bankruptcy and stuff like that back in this period of time. So at that time, I thought I wasn't feeling the same way. I wasn't feeling like committing suicide or anything like that. But it was like, it was about as embarrassing as you could be. You know, it was an embarrassing situation. Now, hold on. Let me turn this truck off. All right, so rather than look at the situation as a bad deal or whatever, I decided to set myself up for the future. Now, luckily, because I wasn't thinking about myself at the time, I was able to just erase all the bad debt and keep the house or houses that I had renters in. Had at the time, in the long term, things were probably better that I didn't throw the houses in there. But in the short term, I'm looking at this like, man, it'd be good just to get rid of all this stuff, right? But I had other people counting on me, so I did not do that. And that ended up paying off very well in the future. But like I said, it was a hard time to go through. Hold on a second. I'm at the point now where I pray everything to not wake up, and then when I do, I get pissed off all day until I go to bed. Listen, man, don't. So I'm going through this stuff, and it took a while to get through that. I'm probably saying it probably took 3 years to, like, work my way through this stuff. And I remember me and my wife, I can remember the first time we had, like, and this is going to be a short amount, I remember the first time we had $10,000 in the bank that wasn't allocated to anything else. And that could have been like $1 million to me at that time. And that was like the first time I felt like there was any breathing room. You know what I mean? And you know, like I said, I learned so many things going through that. Like, during this period of time, I had bought, like, and I still will never buy a new car. I mean, unless I hit the lottery or something like that, or whatever. But I just remember going through that period of time, buying like these used cars. I remember, and I learned a lot, because I bought these used cars and I buy them for, like, the first ones were maybe 25. I took a beating on the first one because it was a real piece of shit, but it served its purpose. But then after that, I mean, I was buying like used Ford Expeditions, or not, yeah, well, first Explorers for like $2,500, driving them for like a year, selling them for like $2,500, $3,000. I did that a few times. We're getting to you in a second, Misfit Flatbedder. And then I was buying these cars and driving them and selling them for equal or more than what I paid for them. And I just really learned how much I didn't really need to have all this shit. You know what I mean? And that's something that lasts till today. Now, there's other people that are going through stuff now. I'm going to deviate off this topic for a second. But Misfit Flatbedder, if you see her in here, you know, she's like somebody that is going through stuff with her truck. And if anybody's going to say, if you buy a Peterbilt, they're always going to break down, she has a Freightliner, and she's been going through it. And sometimes it's seeing people that are going through the same thing that you're going through that helps you. I can't say help you. It's comforting knowing that you're not the only one dealing with stuff. And it's like, you know, death by 1,000 cuts. You know what I mean? It's like, in her situation, she's up and running. The next thing you know, like, something happens to her truck, and then it's not really fixed, and it's just kind of repetitive. You know what I mean? So anyway, if you happen to be going through situations, whether it's, you know, I know there's people that aren't truck drivers that are watching this, but if you happen to be watching this, and whether you're a truck driver or not, and you're going through a challenging situation, the best thing that you can do is learn and adjust how you deal with things based on what you're going through now. So I know there's a lot of people right now that, and that had been on Facebook posting pictures about their cars and, you know, all this kind of stuff. And I think, you know, there's nothing wrong with having cars if that's your thing. Like I said, I'm not just getting on everybody that has brand new cars out here, because, you know, like I say, Slime Pack is out here and she has a car and she's making money, or she had made money. I don't know if she's still posting car videos. But if you're driving a car and that car is making you money or something like that, this doesn't apply. But if your self-image is based on buying things that are depreciating assets, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're young, learn from me. Do not do it. I'm not speaking about a bankruptcy I'm having. I'm talking about what I've learned through one that I actually went through. You know, and how it relates to kind of the trucking industry right now. Shamarcus is trying to get a Rolls Royce. Hey, you're better than me. I'm trying to eliminate all debt possible. Well, not that I really have all that much debt to begin with, but alright, Rusty's having the worst week at Prime. I came back from vacation, had one real good week, 5 terrible weeks, can't put 2 lows together. I was talking about that with a buddy earlier today. I personally have not had issues personally, and when I'm talking about me, I'm talking about my truck. I haven't had issues, like, really, I can't say that I've had issues in general. You know what I'm saying? Like, I came off of home time last week. I think that one load I did might have been like $1,800. The week going into home time, I think I did like $6,600. And this load I have now that's delivering tomorrow, so Friday, is $4,000. So $4,000 this week with Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 4.5 days is good. Now, the struggles I've been having are it's a learning experiences is basically from running more than one truck. And I'll take that as a learning experience as well. So, but I just see a lot of, let me not talk about a lot of people. Let me just talk about the person I was talking to. We could talk about business. We could talk about whatever. His personal situation is not as bad as mine. I just happen to be a little bit more prepared for what's going on than he has. And even though I say it's tight and all this kind of stuff, there is money that I can fall back onto. I just choose not to if there's a way to avoid it. But if that's all that you got to do, or if you don't have that, then you need to tighten things up. Wait, who are you? Peace Smoke, are you talking about me? He gave me a lackadaisical answer towards how complex bankruptcy can be in a certain situation. If you can elaborate on that, and I can kind of talk about that. Wombats, here's why people want to run a fleet, right? And I've talked about this a number of times. Sometimes, okay, so I came out of a different field, right? I came out of management in the mortgage company. And the way I look at it is, okay, and it's a lot different, first of all. You aren't going to get paid unless you produce, right? A little bit different. So if you're hiring mortgage people to work for you, if they don't produce, they don't make anything, right? They aren't costing you anything, none of that. Trucking is a little bit different. You can produce suboptimally, still get paid, but then you got, and I'm going to say there are other things. Obviously, you have fixed costs, stuff like that, but then you have breakdowns. And let me get into this from the very beginning. What my thought process was, and you'll understand it. So, when it came to me thinking about operating a fleet, and I never really wanted to operate a fleet, like I said, I never would have got this last truck. I got that under false fucking information, right? But just think about what my process was. Is I say, Lyle, here's what you're doing every week. This shit isn't that fucking hard. Let's multiply that out by however many trucks you want to multiply it out on, right? So I'm saying, well, if this is what I do, and I multiply this out and subtract out any expenses, then here's what you should do. And then I say, well, you know what? To attract good drivers and to keep people around, let me even pay more, because I should still be able to pay more. And let's say I break even or come out a little bit ahead. In the end, what's going to be like the benefit? Okay, you know what? If I break even at the end of 3 years, then you got a truck paid off and it's worth X amount of dollars. Well, that's the first problem right there. Trucks ain't worth X amount of dollars right now, right? Still better than if you were just going to do a regular lease. I will throw that out there. But trucks ain't going for shit. So that blows up that thing about breaking even, selling the truck, and going from there. The other thing that blows it up, and nothing against any drivers that I have, anything like that, nobody's going to run like you. I'm just going to say it right now. So, I've mentioned it before. If you're going to throw out these numbers and say, here's what I'm going to do, So I'm going to project, here's what I'm going to do every week, and here's what my driver's going to do every week. You better add 15%. You better add 15% on top of whatever you think you're going to make, because you're going to have to make that extra 15%, right? And then you're going to probably have to take off a little bit on those other drivers. And then you throw in, which aren't really things that you really think about until you're in the situation, is when a truck breaks down, boom. Now, you're not just paying for a truck payment, right? You're paying for a truck payment, downtime, hotel room, and whatever it costs to get the truck out, right? So you could have been, let's even say that you were making, and this is extreme, but it ain't nowhere near this. But let's even say that you were making $1,500 a week per truck. 1 week of breakdown is going to kill that. Tires are going to kill that. Home time is going to kill that. You know, everybody's going to take home time, but I'm just saying, you know, there are certain things that are going to kill that. So, and one of the things that I didn't, information is everything, right? Information is everything. So I didn't become a member of this Prime Inc. small fleet owner page until after I had a small fleet. But once you start seeing what people are going through, listen, there are very few people out there that are running small fleets that are making some money. And this has nothing to do with, this market is not the problem. This market is not the problem. So that's not the issue. I'm not even going to blame it on that. It's just I would say if I was to guess, if I was to pick from 100 drivers, let's say I had 100 drivers to pick from, just drivers alone, you are gonna need a dedicated driver. And I'm not talking about dedicated to you. I'm saying dedicated to their self, whether it be like they're in financial problems and they got to be running and gunning, or they just have that drive that's above and beyond what you cannot get an average driver that's going to make money. It's going to have to be beyond that. And that's not taking anything. It's going to take, if you're an average lease driver at Prime, it's going to take more than what you're doing to operate that. So this has nothing to do with how good or bad my drivers were. It's like you're going to need like top tier, like somebody's not going to get tired, not looking for 34s, not, you know, I mean, it's really, you're really going to need something above and beyond. And let's even say that you have that. So let's say I got that driver does this, never takes home time, whatever. At some point, they might start saying, and some of it's foolish and some of it's not, well, I could do the same thing if I was a lease driver. You know, you see that happen. You see some people do better. You see some people do worse. But trying to keep those drivers. So I'm saying if I'm having a hard time, I had 2 different pay plans that I had going on. I had one at 60 cents a mile with like bonuses that were probably upwards of $300 a week. And then I had one at 70 cents a mile. So if I'm having problems keeping motherfuckers at 70 cents a mile, and actually I haven't gone through that many, but then that's a problem. So now, let's say that you got a driver that is leaving. Now you're taking time off the road to go deal with that shit. So now you're not making money on that truck when they leave. You're not making money when you get somebody else in the truck. And you're taking, you know, you're obviously not driving, so you're losing some money there. So it's just, Robert, what's up? Andrea Garcia. Alright. I know. And then at some point you feel like Prime's against you. So check this shit out. So then you're like, okay, let's say you wanted to look at the long term, right? So let's say, okay, you know, I'm going to struggle through this. These trucks are going to start getting paid off, all this kind of stuff. Then Prime's like, you know what? Hold on. So then Prime's like, who is this jack off here? All right, there we go. So Prime's like, you know what? I don't like running old iron. The longest you can keep your trucks on the fleet is, you know, X amount of years. So now you blow up. So they're blowing up people's business plans right in the middle of the fucking business plan. And then they're like, okay, well, now you're not able to, like, you're trying to bless a motherfucker potentially. If somebody says, hey, I want to be a company driver. I don't want to be a lease driver. Let's, like, pass the blessing on, give somebody a Prime 70 cents a mile plus, you know, well, you know, some other shit. Now they don't allow you to do that shit. So it's like you're against the world on some of this shit. Hold on a second. I think my comments stopped coming through. Let me grab my other phone. Hold on a second. All right, give me just a second. So now you're feeling like, okay, they're against this in a way.
Try to act like nobody else. Don't try to.
All right, I don't know if I'm just not getting these messages. All right, so you got that, right? So at some point, it's just a bad situation. So, like I said, every time I look at this Prime small fleet owner page, there's people looking for drivers or, you know, whatever the situation is. And, hold on a second. I think I blocked somebody on accident. Alright, I'm having problems. So, I've kind of deviated from my topic, other than the fact that had I not been prepared for this downturn, I might have been dealing with a much bigger problem than I'm dealing with now. So, if you happen to be a single damn, what is wrong with this? Hey, can somebody write a comment in there so I can see if something's coming through? Because I'm not seeing anything. All right. Michael Finley said winner. Okay, I saw that. All right, so anyway, that's kind of... Even if somebody came to me and said, Lyle, I got all paid off trucks. I'm thinking about operating multiple trucks. I'm going to say, you know what? I probably would not do that. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't people that are doing well or, whatever, but just what comes along with that, no. I just don't think it's... All right, peace smoke. Let's get off this topic. Given the complex interplay of factors that can contribute to personal bankruptcy, what are some of the proactive strategies to build financial resilience and long-term stability? You know what? The first thing I did when I went through my bankruptcy was, first of all, stop buying shit on credit. That was the first thing. Because the first thing that happens when you go through bankruptcy is there's going to be all these people that are trying to offer you some bullshit credit at some high-ass interest rates. Believe it or not. Because they know that you can't do it again for another 7 years, so they're going to take their chance on it. Okay, John. So, that was the first thing I did. Second thing I did was applied for... I didn't apply. There's a credit card that you can open up where you put the money in a bank account and they basically loan your own money to build credit. So, one of the things that happens, and I think that was all the credit that I had for a while. I was not trying to get any more shit. Now, what happens is once you file for bankruptcy, all the credit that you have that's good does not get reported. So at the time, I think I had 3 mortgages. No. I had 2 mortgages at the time. Yeah, I had 2 mortgages at the time that were not reporting to the credit bureau. So all I had was this credit card. And time does a lot to heal. In the meantime, what I did was stop spending money, buy used cars, and once everything got back on track and I saw the real estate market was coming around, then me and my wife bought a house, which was one of the best things that could have happened, because that house, we ended up making a killing on that one. But it was just a change of mindset. Like back in the day, it was like, oh, I like driving a new car, and I like, whatever it is. I think the car might have been one of the main things, or just buying shit on credit in general. But it was that, it takes a change, like right now. Even right now, during the best of times when, back in the day, before there was any bankruptcies or anything like that, there was never a time I could probably say, I could go out and buy a Bentley or 2 with cash. And now I could probably do that. Well, I could do that. But that isn't what makes me feel like, there was a time when I would equate not financial, what am I trying to say? Like, I would equate a new car with success. Antonio, dang, what's up from Russia? Now I do not think about that at all. As a matter of fact, if I see somebody in a new car, I'm like, boy, they're blowing a lot of fucking money. That could have been a bunch of money going into a 401k or, passed down to kids. And I've never been one to think about passing on shit to kids. But once you get older, I'm like damn near 60 years old. I'll be closer to 60 here in a few days than I am 50. And you start thinking a little bit deeper, like, you know what? Something has to push you. If you're like, man, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be around, but then you're like, okay, well, I got kids, so let me, if things go bad, I'll at least have somebody that could benefit from my hard work or something like that. But, damn, I'm getting all off the fucking topic that I was supposed to be on in the first place. Um, so, here's one thing, is I don't think about money as money. I think about money as security. And going through what I've been going through this last year isn't about the money, because if me and my wife had to dig deep, we got money. Good amount of money, good amount of equity, all that shit. But it's the security that I'm working for now. It's not X amount of dollars, it's X amount of freedom, security, things I don't have to worry about. Those are the things. And when I was younger, it was things. It was like, what I owned, I remember not even maybe, having a decent amount of money in my bank account, but not really knowing what a decent amount was. And I'd have a wine rack full of, different whiskey, scotch, and bourbon. They were like $100 bottles, 50, whatever. And it was just like, it wasn't, I'm not sure if I was doing that because it made me happy. I was probably doing that because it might impress somebody else. And I think theirs were, like, really, how much more, like, if I got a car, right, I could buy whatever car I want. But what, damn, I'm all off the fucking point. But I mean, really, when it comes down to it, what's the difference between me having a, brand new, I mean, it'd be nice, but a brand new, brand new truck as opposed to my 2009 truck I think I got? Not much, right? All right, but back to the bankruptcy thing. So I went through all this shit, and I would say probably it took three and a half, maybe 4 years to go from what I wasn't even worried about credit scores or anything like that, but it probably took 4 years to get around a 680 credit score, 700. And then, after that, getting up into the 800, 805, 815 fluctuates or whatever. All right, Myth Leather Company. For the young bucks, save 20 to 25% of your money, max out the Roth every year, invest the rest in the market. Hey, absolutely agree with that. I know my wife is maxing out her 401ks, and we had been putting more money. We have another investment account that we built up pretty good. Haven't been putting much in that shit lately, but we definitely have that. And then, like I said, one of the things I did early in life was, we got a paid off condo. So that right there, as time goes by, that just keeps going up and up and up. And then we got our house we live in, that we got equity in, that we bought at the right time, that's going up and up and up. So a lot of the stuff, a lot of the stress that I'm going through isn't the same kind of stress that, ooh, this guy's about to tear it. Barely made it. Pull-throughs are not always the easiest. But, it was a lot of years of not buying shit that are allowing me to deal with this. And you know, there are things that I'd like to spend money on right now that don't necessarily have to get spent, that would be easy for me to just say, you know what, just do it. But no, I'm gonna get through this shit and then we'll get on to that stuff. The best option for bankruptcy generally is going to be Chapter 7. Just to erase it all. You know what I mean? They're generally going to let you keep your house, depending on the market. Now, when I went through mine, the market was down. So, at the time, I owed more on these 2 investment properties than I had than they were worth. So, they allowed me to keep those. Sometimes they won't let that happen. They'll let you keep your main house. Sometimes they may ask you to, like, you can't be flush full of money and equity and go through it. But normally an attorney is going to kind of help you line things up before you go through it. The Real Silent Maboso sending this at 1830. Every dollar you save will be worth $90 when you retire. Chapter 7 is the best option if you can do it, because it doesn't affect you as bad as you would think it would, right? Several former politicians out there went through multiple bankruptcies, and they seem to make it out of there fine. You know what, Andrea? Priorities should change as you get older. I wouldn't expect for me to be like, listen, I was just so fucking reckless. And it really took me to deal with a lot of people that had money to understand it. And then it took me a little bit longer for me to implement it. But I remember like having the car, you know, we're talking about 1994. I had the GSXR 750 Suzuki motorcycle, rode that shit all the way from California to Denver. I had like any different kind of, man, I didn't know any better. I just thought that suits to go to work at the time cost $500-$600. We're talking about in the 90s. I was buying $500-$600 double-breasted, you know, gabardine wool suits to go to work, ties, $150. I mean, this is ridiculous. It was just ridiculous. And really, at some point, just making enough money to service the debt. And you were right to impress people that don't even like you, or you don't like, or don't like you. So, little dude from across the street, the prime driver in Dallas taking out the lights. Yeah, I saw that out there. I can't say that. Listen, I've done some reckless shit out there myself. You know, when I was new. I didn't take out a light like that. But everybody goes through shit when they're new. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, 3 out of 4 of my drivers have done shit that should have been on fucking that same Facebook or YouTube channel or whatever. So, and I've done some shit too. So, you know, I just have, you know, like I've said in other videos, I had one driver that did some shit that somebody actually did take a picture of, posted on Facebook, and you couldn't really tell it was one of my trucks, but somebody on the Facebook page said, "Isn't that one of No Hippies trucks?" And I didn't say anything about it because you could barely see the logo, and it kind of died there. Hold on, Dad makes, daughter breaks. We'll get to that in a second. One of them, was on a no truck route, so there wouldn't have been no trucks there to put it on on no channel. And then another one, I think it was like late at night, so that wouldn't have, maybe there weren't people around to video that shit. But all right, dad makes, daughter breaks. Okay, as far as bankruptcy, would the creditors make you drain a retirement account? They can't touch a retirement account, at least as I know. Now things could have changed, but no, not at that time. So I'm talking about, what I originally came here talking about was somebody that was not saying he was going to commit suicide or that he was thinking about killing himself, but that he couldn't say that he hadn't thought about it. Listen, things will always get better. All right, and what kept pushing me through this shit when I was like really dealing with it before trucking was, it's not going to kill me. And it was like, even now, this last year, things have eased up a bit, lately. Once I paid off that first truck and then I sold that truck, that kind of eased the burden a bit. But it was just like, at some point, normally I'm somebody that looks far into the future and kind of tries to plan that out. But at some point you got to put the blinders on and just kind of look at what's directly in front of you. And that's kind of where I was at. Just boom. It's this load. It's this week. You know what I mean? It's this problem, not like everything out there. All right, the real silent. I don't know how to pronounce that, but yeah, all right. Appreciate that timestamp. So anyway, Slowpoke, what's going on? Just coming on here real quick. I think I deviated past what my topic was supposed to be, but I just feel like a burden has, like things are about to get back to like, okay, so let's get back to the fleet thing. I know I'm all over the place. People talking about, oh, let me start a fleet or, whatever, is if you want the feeling that you're not in control of shit, do that. If that's what like really floats your boat, do that. If you're somebody that wants to, bet on yourself and like you are rewarded for what you do, then stay by yourself. I could get dementia. I wouldn't put it past me. Man, a street light, man, there is much worse than you could do than a street light. From what I mean, I'm just telling you. Maybe there's some truckers out there that haven't done shit, but I've been in some, especially in my early days, I've been in some precarious situations. Tito's and soda, what is up? More of a bourbon fan myself, but oh, I got a DOT inspection yesterday. Since we're deviating from the topic that I was on, and I wasn't, if you just came into this, my video was not meant to talk about tough times I'm going through at Prime as concerned with my particular truck, right? It was in regards to a comment somebody had emailed me. Alright, so anyway, a DOT inspection yesterday. So I'm coming through Arkansas, I did talk to Junior probably about 3 weeks ago. So I'm coming through Arkansas. Them motherfuckers never shut down a scale in Arkansas. So I'm coming through Arkansas, and I hit the scale, right? I stop where you're supposed to stop. Lady comes out. Roll down my window, and I think she fucking opened the door. No, she couldn't have. So I drive, my door's locked. So she asked me if I'd open the door and give her my license, my and my paperwork. So I give her that shit, and then she starts asking me questions. Like, okay, she's asking me questions like she's about to maybe let me go, or it's about to get real bad. So she's like, so you're coming from Laredo? Yeah. How long were you in Laredo? You know, and I'm thinking, okay, in my mind I'm thinking, if she's gonna inspect me, she's gonna know this shit, so why is she asking me it if she's gonna inspect me? So I'm thinking she's about to let me go, or she's about to really inspect me. So I'm like, just went down there, grabbed it, and came back. She's like, okay, just pull over and, you know, pull over here. So I'm thinking that there's another truck that had the, you know, it was a box truck, but they were like in his shit, right? In the cab, in the trailer, you know, in the back part of it. So I'm thinking they're about to like do all that crazy shit. So she pulls me in and asked me to bring all this insurance, you know, whatever, normal shit. And I'm thinking, well, why are you asking me how long I was in Laredo if you're about to, you know, because I sent her my logs. Why, if you're going to be doing it? So, in the meantime, I'm sitting here watching. I'd never looked at the screens when these trucks came across the screen and what you could see and the information you get, but that was a little interesting. So we go through all that. My insurance was out of date. So luckily, had the Prime app, pulled that shit up, and she's like, all right, just meet somebody out front and he'll finish the inspection. So, past inspection. The only thing that pissed me off about that inspection was it was about to be to the point where finding parking was going to be an issue. But that ended up not being an issue, but that's the only thing that upset me about it. So it's a free $100 for 30 minutes of my life, you know, I'll take it. You know, I've had a lot of people watch this channel that had been thinking about starting a fleet, and I'm not somebody that would tell you not to do something. I just gotta base it on the numbers that I had and what I can see is feasible with what is, like, I didn't even have in regards, in comparison to other shit I've seen out there, mine was not that bad of a situation. There are people out there going through like serious situations. All right, listen, what are your thoughts on central bank digital currency? Could this really be the new wave? I don't know. I'm not too into, I'm a little old to be understanding much of that shit. All right, the real silent. Okay, while we're on the topic, what are a few things that you do or try to do to keep your mental health in a good position? Personally, I've always been kind of self-reliant as far as that shit goes, right? But that being said, there's a number of people that I talk to at Prime in general. Some of them you see in here. And then I always have people emailing me asking about questions. So I'm pretty active as far as some of that stuff goes. You know, I got my wife I talk to as well. And a lot of it's just staying focused and being able to look at the long term. And it's much harder on my wife because she really isn't built that way. You know, she is more like, I'm goal oriented. It's like, you know what? Let's get through this shit, and once we make it out the back end, then whatever. So I'm always kind of like that. I'm able to put my head down and just deal with the problem at hand, or whatever it is. So I think I'm a little bit lucky in that. I do know there's drivers out there that don't talk to anybody, that don't have anybody at home, and those are the ones that, like, listen, there's gonna be a fucking mass shooting at a truck stop. There is no doubt in my mind that a truck driver is gonna fucking flip out about some shit that may or may not be that big of a deal, and do that shit at a truck. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. But there's people out there that don't have anybody, or even, let's say they do have somebody, and then their wife or girlfriend is out there cheating on them, or fuck, who knows what, it could be. I don't know. I think I'm built personally a little bit different than a lot of people, and that's even based on some of the shit I went, some of the time I was away in the Marines. It's just like sometimes those situations would break people down to where they weren't able to just take that next step. They were always looking at we still have another 6 months over here, 5 months over here. When are we going home? And I just be like, let me just make it to tomorrow. So I think that's what I would suggest for. Well, I can't suggest it because it's not like everybody could do it, but if you can build up a network of people, it's a lot different going through shit on your own, or when you feel like you're on your own, than when you're talking to somebody else. They're like, my truck broke down again, or whatever the situation might be. But oftentimes I think people that snap are people that feel like they're the only ones that are going through this. And I've always taken personal accountability. I'm never going to blame shit on who's president or who's not president. I'm not, I'm a grind, whether it's fucking Trump, fucking Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, doesn't fucking matter. I'm going to get fucking mine. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to even be more proud about doing that shit when a motherfucker I don't like is in office. But I'm not going to ever be whining about my position in life based on that. So you have those people that are going to, it's just I just rely on myself. That's it. And I don't blame shit on anybody else but myself. If shit went wrong because I did something, then that's on me. I ain't blaming nobody else. No president, politics, fucking strike, fucking whatever. It's on me. Okay, these shippers and receivers as well, they talk. Oh, God. I lost my bearing one time at a receiver, and that was just one, a shipper receiver. But I think about a lot of those people and what they're going through. And sometimes I remember, because I try to butter people up, when I go in there. I remember being in Atlanta, and this driver had just gone off on this girl. And I was like, don't worry about him. You're doing a good job. What do you mean? Some people just have a chip on their shoulder. But, yeah, I don't think that some of these shippers and receivers understand how wound up some of these drivers are. and you say the wrong thing to the wrong driver, I'm telling you, it could be some problems. And none of them are going to fight you for the most part, but they might be packing a gun or some crazy shit. And a sign saying no guns isn't going to keep nobody from taking a gun in there. Yeah, you're right about that. $5 on the diesel and two $20 scratcher. Actually, one of the things I was supposed to be talking about soon was somebody asked me about college or trucking. And I think I'd mentioned this before, where people that say going to college is a waste of time. You know, that's all a matter of the people that you know that have actually gone to college, right? But my best friend, my boy, he always talks about the lottery as a poor man's taxes. So, anyway. I think I deviated a little bit off topic from what I was originally trying to talk about. But hey, not all them shippers are behind glass that's not going to get shot out by somebody. I'm telling you. And somebody's going to go off at one of these truck stops. You got all these people that are all like, you know, all about carrying guns and all this kind of shit. I'm just telling you, there's going to be a day that, and here's how it's going to happen. There's going to be a guy that says something wrong to a truck driver. The truck driver is going to shoot that motherfucker, and then he's going to say, fuck. Well, I'm fucked now. Let me just, if I'm fucked anyway, just let me kill everybody. And then he's just going to start shooting at everybody. But like I said, I don't usually have people talking crazy to me when I'm at shippers and receivers. Because like I say, I go up there, especially if I know there's going to be some detention on the load, go ahead and take your time. I ain't in no hurry. You know, whatever. And I'm telling you, that shit can be dangerous when you got truck drivers. Listen, I'm just going to tell you, not that I don't love my people, right? But as a whole, not you guys, but other guys, as a whole, I think truck drivers might be a little bit less unstable than your average 9-to-5 worker. Man, this guy's driving through here like 40 miles an hour. I think there's something to worry about. And to think about this, and I'm going to probably end it on this. So there's a girl that I know that was going through that shit in North Carolina, up there at that Ingalls and Black Mountain, North Carolina. She was one of the few trucks that made it out of there. Kiersey had done a video on her. But I was talking to her when she was going through this stuff, and that right there, if you have the wrong person dealing with that, because I'm not going to blame Prime, but it was kind of like you're on your own. And she was calling me, asking me, you know, what should I do? You know, how do I get, you know, we were kind of talking about what's the best way to get out of there. And I was telling her there's this route that I'd taken through there before when a road was closed. You should be able to get a truck through there. So she got out of that area. And if you want to know who I'm talking about, go check out trucking along with Kiersey, and it was talking about the floods in North Carolina, one of the recent videos. So she gets out of there. The only way you can get out of there, she waited around about a day and a half, 2 days, with no instructions, nothing like that. She gets down to Georgia, calls her fleet manager. Fleet manager asks, "What are you doing in Georgia?" Listen, better her than me, because after going through all that shit, I would have probably got fired that day. You know, it was like it was almost like an insult. You know what I mean? And there are people still possibly down there in shelters, you know, whatever. I'm not sure that I think they should have been a little bit more prepared for that. Like, they couldn't have had more than 10 drivers, maybe let's even say 20 drivers in that situation. There should have been a dedicated team at Prime whose sole job, until all those drivers were safe and whatever, that was in communication with them, not just like total like silence unless reached out to. I thought that was a bad move. So anyway, that's about it. Nothing that anybody's going through in trucking, even if it's coming down to the last thing where you're maybe not able to make house payments, car payments, you know, whatever. Nothing is worth like giving up your life for, all right? I'm not usually this soft, and you know, like I often say, I'm not about all this hippie shit, but nothing is this serious, okay? Whether it's money, whatever. If you ever have any issues, need somebody to talk to, the information's usually at the bottom of my videos or whatever. Or you can leave me an email address in the comments of any of my videos. What's up, Trucking Unfiltered? Just watched your video earlier today talking about the truck driver that got beat up at the port. That's some bullshit right there. That could make this video last another hour talking about that dumb shit. Alright, hold on. Misfit Flatbedder, Shamarcus, some got smart mouth because they're behind that plexiglass. Shamarcus, they've been dropping the ball lately. They had me deliver to 2 receivers in South Carolina. They were closed and without power over the last few loads. I've been lucky as far as that goes. Now, I guess we'll see. I got the load from Laredo going. Listen, this should be a monster week, but we'll see. I'm going to deliver tomorrow. That load is paying $4,000. So let's say it delivers Friday morning. I'll be out of hours. So let's say I load up. My fleet manager should be there to plan me out. So let's say I pick up on Saturday. I don't know if I got enough hours to go all the way out to Utah, but you know, I should minimum end up with $6,000 minimum. I mean, which isn't going to be that far off of what I'm kind of doing anyway. So go Padres. The Padres were the last baseball team I watched when I was living out in San Diego. That had to be 30 years ago. So anyway, that is about it. I'm going to come back here and here goes somebody who doesn't know how to park. Alright, at least he's getting out to make sure he backs up all the way, because he's going to be blocking people in if he doesn't back up to the trailer behind him. But hey, he's getting out, taking a look, because I will be rolling out of here at 3 in the morning. And I do not have a problem banging on somebody's shit in the morning. I wouldn't have stopped at this TA if I didn't need to scrub these nuts. There's a nice little place right across the street out of park that, but I just didn't feel like breaking up my brake. Anyway, guess I could have PC'd over there. Anyway, I'm about to get off here. I do appreciate you guys stopping by. Like I said, seriously, if you got any problems or you want to work your way through some shit or whatever, you know what I'm saying? In one of my videos, leave your email address, phone number. I got my email address in most of my videos. I don't know about these lives, but you know, if you need somebody to talk to, I know there's some people out here who just ain't got nobody to talk to. Hit me up. Anyway, I appreciate you guys stopping by No Hippie Trucking Transportation. As always, comment, subscribe, and I'm out.